And now, time for weekly show with a passionate India lover, chairman of ITV Gold and Parikh Worldwide Media. Get ready for loving sharing from physician, philanthropist, publisher, and India advocate in this week. Namaskar. Welcome to this special edition of This Week with Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir. Doctor, welcome. Namaste.
Namaskar.
So as we meet today, there is something which has created a sense of additional hope relating to the address of Prime Minister Narendra Modi in India. And one of the announcements that he made yesterday was from 22nd June onwards, Center would be giving vaccine for free to all the states, and anyone above 18 would be able to get it for free. So your response to this announcement, actually?
I think it's a great announcement, and I think it's a right announcement. A government should give vaccine all adults free of charge to all the state, and I think that's the right decision. And I think we should applaud the decision, and I think that would be very, very helpful to end the pandemic in India.
And talking about the pandemic situation in India now, that there are many states under lockdown. So Government of India, as Prime Minister announced, would also be offering free food supplies till Diwali 2021 to nearly 80 crore people. That's phenomenal. Your take on this decision, because earlier it was to end as per previous year's announcement.
No, I think it's a good announcement. I mean, it's a great announcement, and it is a necessary announcement because this second wave was very, very serious, very severe, and very kind of devastating to the people for their economy, their livelihood, their situation, ability to buy food or any other things. So this kind of help from the government is always welcome.
And now talking about the help and harmony going together, in terms of the divide among some factors which leads to a sense of division, whether they are political or they are due to the pool of resources based on different religions, etc. Do you foresee a fresh initiative which would address these kind of issues, what recently came up from Bengal also?
No, I mean, there should not be any controversy, or there should not be any kind of unnecessary political issues to be raised as far as the fighting of the pandemic is concerned. Fighting of the pandemic has to be done by, in the leadership of the government of India, has to be done by every party, every religion, every section of the society together. And unless you do that, fighting against pandemic becomes very difficult.
And now let us look at another positive news coming from World Bank, which has projected India's economy is to grow 8.3% this year. And that kind of expansion is much more than the global expansion of economy. What do you think are the contributing factors for this projection?
No, I think, growth rate will be 1% down than what they were predicting beginning of the year. But India's 8% growth is, it's good, but it's not. They were predicting 11% before. So I think 8% is not that great, but it is also is not that bad either. And the growth percentage of the GDP growth you cannot compare the percentage from one country to other country, but because it depends upon the country's GDP, it depends upon the population and so forth. So I think India's growth 8% is a very healthy growth, and we are happy in spite of this second wave. India will have healthy growth in their GDP.
And in this context, the way NRI community, that includes you and several organizations, came forward to support India, um, how do you see that actually resulted into a faster pace of countering the challenge of COVID-19? And do you see that there is a need to continue momentum of having this kind of support, which many hospitals are also mobilizing, many organizations are also mobilizing with supplies and other technical know-how for India?
Yes, this kind of support from the NRI and Indian American outside India is very critical and very important, and it should continue. And not only NRI, but even the different countries should help the India to meet the challenges of this new virus and new wave and whatever this severity of the pandemic. So I think it's a great idea. We should continue, and now we should continue is a vaccination. If yesterday only someone called me and they have 400,000 dosage of vaccines, and they want to sell it to India, but we are not sure because that is how what is a kind of logistic about it, because still India has not approved certain vaccines which are available in the Western world. Therefore, and there is still liability issue is not settled. So I think that so buying vaccine from here and sending there is probably in immediate future is not possible, but later on maybe. But I think India has already made a arrangement of production of the enough vaccine by July, and that's why what Prime Minister says that everyone, all adult above 18 years of age, will get the vaccine, which will be free and from the and regardless of the what state person belongs to.
Absolutely. And in this context, I'm also reminded that Prime Minister did mention India is also buying from other countries so that at short span of time they can have more people getting
That's
vaccination.
right.
Yeah,
But I think this buying thing is happening with a certain vaccine like Sputnik and some other vaccine, but we don't know about the vaccine which is produced by Pfizer or Moderna are allowed to go into the enter into the India right now because it needs some kind of import permit and also needs some liability issues settled.
absolutely, absolutely. So there are many intricacies involved, and you're right. As much simplification is offered on the part of government, that would be helpful. In this context, Dr. Saab, during this COVID-19, especially second wave, one, there was shortage of resources. Second, there were news that doctors were not very clear as to what way they should extend help for the patient. So it was kind of a trial and error, as based on what I read through newspapers at several places. My question to you, the central guidelines for all the physicians, uh, probably that was missing. Now maybe they have worked on it. Your take on this situation of confusion as to how to treat the patients?
No, no, no. There was no confusion how to treat the patients in the medical field, in a medical fraternity. Because every patient is different, what stage of the patient is there, and they know pretty much guideline how to treat the patient in the first week of the illness and second week of illness, and when they need the when they are kind of needed oxygen or ventilator and so forth. So so I think there is no confusion among the medical fraternity about how to treat the patient. But in the beginning of the second wave, unfortunately, we had a oxygen supply distribution problem. And I think within a week or two, it all got settled. And now we have plenty of oxygen there in India. And the distribution is also very smooth and seamless. And I think that helps. And otherwise, the number of medication name of the medication. They all are known to the medical fraternity how to treat the patient. So there is no confusion or controversy about, and they don't need a dictation from the government for that. It's a medical field, and medical fraternity or ISCMR usually decides what drug is approved, what drug is not approved, what drug is useful, which drug is not useful.
I agree with you, and probably the way I asked you, it appeared as if I'm suggesting that government should be playing that role. What I meant was medical fraternity themselves having some central body with up-to-date guidelines, because this was an yeah.
But I think I don't know where you read that kind of report.
Okay, let me bring to your attention that there were some medications which were
medical reading. Medical body has there is a medical body called ICMR, Indian Institute of Research Institute of India, Central Research Institute, and they are the one who are responsible for what medication to be used and what not to use. So when to use is all depends upon the doctor who is treating the patient, because it all depends upon what stage of the patient they are treating. So that as simple as that, and there was no confusion about it. Only problem with the second wave is it came very suddenly. People kind of caught little in surprise, and oxygen distribution was not properly coordinated in the beginning, and that was a problem. There is no other problem with the drug.
So not disagreeing with you, but just to fill in, what I was coming at from was there were some reports regarding use of steroids for certain patients, and maybe it was a subjective thing. And also there was one medicine.
No, it's not subjective. Again, you are not. I mean, expressing the fact. Use of steroid, we all know as a medical fraternity when to use steroid. And the steroid is always used in the beginning as well as during the crisis, COVID crisis, during the hospitalization. But how to use, when to use, how much to use, that doctor knows about it, and they do take care of that. So there is no controversy about how to use steroids. Steroids are useful when it is used in the first 5 days of the illness. And it is useful when there is a kind of COVID crisis in the lungs, and they all know how to use the steroid and what dosage to be used. But because of the indiscriminate use of the steroid in India, because of any illness they give steroid, and that may not be good, because that creates a more other immunity problem, and that leads to these fungal infections which we are talking about, where people lose their vision and people lose their kind of severe lung infection, mucormycosis, and that because of the in general overuse of the steroid in medical practice in India, not particularly in COVID.
Yeah, so exactly what you just said is something that I was referring to, and I was also recollecting the case of Rohit Sardana, the well-known journalist. But moving towards learning, and as we have little time left, the National Education Policy 2020, Prime Minister Narendra Modi mentioned about a scheme YUA, which is to mentor youth authors and indeed help them improve their writing skills and contribute to nation's intellectual discourse. From your point of view as community leader, a philanthropist, what is the best way to bring young minds towards creative, positive, and constructive side of life, in addition to helping them improve their writing skills, etc.? Anything that comes to your mind, and if you are to interact with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, you may want to suggest to him.
Well, I mean, it is a great idea, and it should be done right from the high school and college time too, because that's the time when you can educate, you can mold, you can guide young mind and young talent And I think it should be done right from there, and continue promoting those ability of the people or young people, and give them kind of more more help, or more praise, or more positive attitude towards that. And I think that always helps, because young mind and young talent can give us, if you educate them properly, if you treat them properly, if you mold them properly, then they can give you very, very useful uh, uh, writing, education back to the community.
Absolutely. So I appreciate your presence with us and such candid conversation. Your parting words for our viewers.
Again, we are saying the same thing, same mantra, that vaccine is safe. Vaccine is safe. All vaccines are equally effective. You must get vaccinated. Only way to end this pandemic is to get maximum number of people to be vaccinated. And if you do that, you will be you will doing service to yourself, and you are doing service to the other people and country. So please get vaccinated, and that should be the mantra. And uh, thank you again joining us this week, and we'll see you next week. Till then, goodbye. Jai Hind. God bless America. God bless India, and God bless Indian American community. Thank you.